Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're here. Today, there's something really cool to talk about. There have been some developments when it comes to soft modding in Xbox 360. This means that you can just use one USB stick, put some files on it, dick that right into your Xbox 360, and you basically have modded your 360 temporarily so you can play homebrew titles or stuff unofficially. This is something that I think is really going to change the landscape for Xbox 360, considering the platform has been sunsetted, but people still enjoy using it. So Spawnwave has covered this topic as well as MVG, and I will put the links in the description to the download files and to these two videos. They will explain how to set this up so you can use your own USB stick, dick that right into your Xbox 360, and basically you run the exploit so you can run Homebrew and backup copies of games. So this is very exciting to me, not necessarily because I want to run, unofficial copies of games, but for Homebrew. You can use this for emulators and things like that, but you can run potentially games that have been made new for Homebrew, and I'll cover that in just a second. So first we'll quickly have a look. You will download these files, the Xbox 360 bad update. All of this stuff you just lump together on a USB stick, and there's a couple things that I want to point out, just a couple hiccups that I had while setting this up. It didn't take that long once I realized I had done a couple things wrong. So what you need is Rock Band Blitz. This is a trial version, and the Xbox 360 marketplace is shut down, so you cannot download games from there anymore, but you don't need that. The link to Rock Band Blitz trial will be here. There's no DRM. What you do is copy this demo version of the game onto a USB stick, and you can run that by dicking that directly into your Xbox 360, and this triggers the exploit to run. You put the exploit on the USB stick as well. You can download that there or there. There's a couple mirrors now. There's a couple hiccups I had. I had the exploit freezing a couple times. There's something here that says if your game freezes immediately at discovering downloadable content, which is something that happened to me, the solution is to try to run the exploit again. So press the power button on your Xbox 360, turn it off, turn it on again, wait a few seconds before pressing A. So when you're at the title screen and it says press A, I wait about 10-15 seconds. I counted it out, and then it started working fine. So it looks like if you press A too soon at the title screen, it can freeze where it says discovering downloadable content. Make sure there's only one external drive. If it freezes on running exploit, make sure that you only have one USB storage device inserted. Now there's an animation on the title screen, and that will continue playing even while the exploit is loading. If the animation on the title screen stops at all, it means that the exploit failed to load and it froze. That's not a big deal. Just turn the console off and on again and try again. XEX menu and all that stuff, you're just gonna download that, put that on the USB drive. It's pretty simple. I made the mistake of forgetting to put one of the archives. I forgot to put that on the USB stick, so I got stuck for a little while, and I was sticking it in the 360 over and over again, and it just wasn't working. So once it's working, you can do all that stuff. But what I really want to add to the conversation here is this. I'll put the link to this in the description. This is Unity, the game engine. Someone had archived this. This is the Xbox 360 version. It's version 5.4, which is quite old, but it's quite an efficient version of Unity. If you can use Unity, you can use Unity. It's going to look a little different if you're accustomed to newer versions. You cannot backport. Let's say you've made a game in Unity, 2019, 2020, and all those versions. You cannot backport your game. But if you have an older game, you can port that to Xbox 360, or you can just create something new. So this will include a bunch of stuff here, but you want the zip file here. You view the contents, and you will install Unity 5.4. Then you will install the Unity Setup Xbox 360 support. Then you will run the Unity 3D patcher, and then you'll install the Xbox 360 SDK. With this, you'll be able to create games using Unity that you can run on your Xbox 360. I personally have not done this yet because I've only just recently got my 360 set up. Just this morning, I set up that USB stick. I haven't used my Xbox 360 in more than a decade, so here's what my 360 looks like. This is the dustiest thing in my office here. It's just been sitting. I was kind of worried. I wasn't sure where my controllers were, but luckily I was able to find those, which are gross, so I'm going to have to give those a deep clean. This is really disgusting. I was trying to set up the exploit and I was holding this thing like L from Death Note, like that. These are gross. And then the power adapter. Luckily, I found that this is disgusting as well, so I'm gonna have to give that a deep cleaning. I apologize if this has caused any of you to flinch, but it's gross. So I was able to get that set up, so I can attest it's pretty easy. Just follow the instructions. I'll put the links to all those. But running the exploit isn't the only thing. You have to also set up a custom launcher, either the XEX or Aurora, and then that will allow you to run Homebrew or backup games. Now, when you use Unity to create games for Xbox 360, they won't be officially signed. Generally, what happens is you sort of send that off to, Microsoft or whatever. And I've never officially shipped a title on an Xbox console, so I'm not at risk of violating any NDA here. I'm just, you know, explaining a vague process, but generally they would sign the game and make it an official version. So the stuff that you make will not be official. It won't be signed. It will be homebrew, which means that if you make games using this version of Unity, you should be able to run that on your Xbox 360, but you will need homebrew enabled, and you can have homebrew enabled through this exploit. This will allow you. So people can play your games on their Xbox because it is now very easy to homebrew enable your console. You no longer need mod chips. In the past, you needed to install physical hardware. It wasn't compatible with every model, but this software method is compatible with every single model of Xbox, and I believe every firmware version, really, or the latest firmware version. So I hope you have fun. Please enjoy. I don't personally have time to create games for Xbox 360. In general, I use a very old version of Unity because they're very fast, and then I upport to whatever platforms I need. But because I create versions, I make my game using old versions of Unity, I can put them on platforms like the Vita, for example. And that's something that I'll be doing with my upcoming games. I would have to spend a couple weeks setting up a workflow and learning how to put my game on 360. There'd be testing. I had to create a controller interface. There's a lot to learn. You can't just copy and paste a game. There's significantly more to it. It's quite deeper than that. I don't know if anyone is even interested in me bringing games to the Xbox 360 in terms of brand new games in the form of homebrew. They would be full-sized games. They would be my upcoming stuff. So, but I booted up my 360, and then I was looking at my stuff on there, and I just realized I was a massive 360 fan. I have tons of stuff on there. I was playing 360 so much. When the Xbox One came out, I think I had one game for that I didn't even play. I wasn't really a big fan of the Xbox One. But 360, I'm just realizing now, man, I really love this console. This is a great console. So let me know in the comments. I don't ask for comments, but I do actually want to hear from you. Are you interested in me bringing new games to the Xbox 360 in the form of homebrew ports? They would be ports of my games that are just, free and that you can play on Xbox. It would take me a huge amount of time, and I would not monetize that. You can try to, but then that legally you run into huge problems. So morally, ethically, and monetarily and legally, I will not monetize anything if I potentially put that on the 360. So please let me know if you are interested in me putting things on this 360, if you want to support my homebrew endeavors, because I have to take time away from my commercial work to do all the free homebrew stuff. My homebrew games are always free. Please, you can head on to Patreon and you can support me there. That supports the homebrew stuff, that allows me to spend time making free stuff for you guys. Other than that, please let me know in the comments if you care to have new stuff on the 360 or not, because I have no idea whether people actually want more new stuff in the form of homebrew. So yes, if you can use Unity, if you're interested in making your own 360 games, here you go. You can do it here. The links will be in the description. I hope you check this out. This is really cool. I personally probably won't be using this this exploit much because I'm so busy with work, even though I would really like to. I have a bunch of games that I'm trying to finish this year. I'm pretty excited about my upcoming stuff. And I'm going to share one more thing before I wrap up here. In one of my previous videos, I showed you a rare instrument that I acquired. This is a zither. This comes from about the 1930s to the 1940s. It's called a tremoloa. A zither is basically just a long box that has strings stretched all the way across. These are quite rare. This is the weirdest and worst zither that I've ever encountered. It's called a tremoloa, and what's unique about it is this slide mechanism. I'm going to turn off my noise suppression. In my previous video, I didn't turn off the noise suppression and you couldn't hear it. So I'm turning off the noise suppression so you can hear what this weird thing sounds like. It's horrible. It sounds like it's begging you to kill it and put it out of its misery. It's funny, you can see the tones here. You use this thumb pick and you line up with the tone so you know which pitch you're playing. You have chords here so you can strum chords, and then you can play the melody, play by numbers. This was from an experimental era when it came to musical instruments and zithers. They're fascinating. This one's so dumb and I love it because it's so awful. Okay, I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Xbox thing. If you're big into 360, if you haven't used your 360 in a while, check out the exploit. Maybe there's some homebrew, or maybe there's games you want to play unofficially. Now, for me, I'm a professional in the industry, and I know that there are people in the industry who watch me, so I shouldn't be talking about things like this because it leads to piracy and blah, 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 blah. And my official statement on that is chill, daddy-o. Don't spaz out, man. It's a sunsetted platform. Come on, be cool about it. I think it's awesome that people can keep enjoying this platform and they can basically revive it after it's been sunsetted, and people can keep sharing the passion for this and appreciating the history and the impact that this console has had on our culture. This is the coolest thing ever. And if people can create new games and make them available freely through Homebrew, I think that's pretty fantastic. All right, take care, everyone. I'll see you around. Thanks very much for spending some time with me today. Oh, I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet. I'm going to the theater now to watch it. I've been out adventuring and driving around, and I've just been up in the mountains and the Gold Country in California, so I have not seen Fantastic Four yet. So please, if you would like, post as many spoilers for Fantastic Four that you can in the comment section, and then I'll come back after the movie and I'll read all your spoilers. See ya.